Hi everyone, and welcome again to Health Chat with NRSVEE. My name is Veronica Mukori, and I am the convener of this platform. Health Chat with NRSVEE is a dedicated space for insightful discussions around women's health. Like you all know, we come here every time and we bring you all the tea about women's health. And on today's episode of Health Chat with NRSVEE, we have on the show a very beautiful young medical professional. She is Dr. Peret Mutman, a dedicated medical doctor and the founder of GMO Foundation. She's also a humanitarian and has an organization committed to helping children through their education, through scholarships, and paying of school fees for vulnerable children and those with disability. She also has this project coming up soon called My Body, My Baby and Me. Everyone, welcome with me on the show, Dr. Peret. You're welcome, ma.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is such an honor to be here today. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Alright, you're welcome, and I believe today is going to be quite insightful because we're going to be discussing everything about the girl child, because I noticed you're also very particular and interested in women and girls issue. So first of all, I know that you've been working for a while now at the gynecological and obstetrics department. What particular issue do you think women have and they ignore until it gets complicated?
Pain.
Okay.
Pain. I think, I know a lot of times, I don't know, I think society has for decades, it has made women feel like they can't talk or they can't express their pain. Pain is supposed to be a normal thing for a woman. Do you understand? Once you start complaining, everybody starts looking at you. You're not a woman. Can't you chest it? Things like that. So for something like for a symptom that I think women ignore a lot is pain. And a lot of times when they come to the hospital, it's the pain has now become something else. Do you understand? Pain is a sign that there's something that is not functioning the way it's supposed to. So if you leave it for a long period of time, it worsens and it ends up worsening the condition. So yes, for me, I think it's pain.
Yeah, that's true, because I especially tell women in our community that our bodies are constantly talking.
Yes.
Yeah, and pain is a means, like one of the ways that our body talks to us. And when this pain comes, we are supposed to listen to it and act, right? Like menstrual pain, I noticed for many decades, our parents, our mothers actually thought us that as a woman you're meant to endure menstrual cramps, right? Or you're meant to endure menstrual cramps, not realizing that most times the reason why many women have menstrual cramps is due to underlying conditions like fibroid, endometriosis, pelvic inflammatory disease and all of that. So we should stop ignoring pain. Alright, thank you so much for that. Now, what do you think we are not talking enough when it comes to feminine health? What are the things that we should be talking about but people are not really talking so much about them when it comes to feminine health?
Okay, when it comes to feminine health, hygiene. As basic as hygiene is, it will shock you that today a lot of women, a lot of ladies don't know how to take care of their bodies properly. They don't know how to shower right. They don't know how to the right products. I think recently I met a girl that was having a whole lot of I'll not say infection because it wasn't an infection, but she was reacting she was having irritations to her, her private parts. And once you find out, what do you do, and you find out that everything just boils down to the hygiene. A lot of ladies, in as much as hygiene seems very basic, a lot of women they're not doing it the right way. They don't know how to go about it. They use products. It's not about using expensive products. It's not about washing with there are now some funny vaginal washes nowadays, and you think that's the in thing. Or like some people are using things that are very harmful. It's causing irritations to their private areas. So for me personally, I think it's hygiene. Once we can get down to the basics, we have a full understanding of what hygiene is and how to go about it. It can cut a lot of the problems.
Right now, thank you so much for actually saying that, because that led me to my next question.
Okay.
What is vaginal douching? And do you think it is something that women should practice? Because like you said, the trend of many feminine hygiene washes and all of that is increasing by the day. So what's your take on that?
Okay, so vaginal douching is the use of products that are quote and unquote cleaning products for the vagina. The thing is that most women don't understand is the vagina naturally has a way of cleaning itself.
Yeah.
The way God has designed the body, there is a natural process for cleaning itself. But then we go ahead and then we put things that are not supposed to be there. We are distorting the normal pH of the vagina. Vaginal douching. It's the process of using products to quote and unquote clean the vagina. Right? There's so many products nowadays, soaps, fluids, liquids, perfumes too. For some weird reason, odor is. Let's not get into that one. But yes, there's so many things that people use nowadays to clean their vagina. And what these things do is they distort the normal pH of the vagina. They cause irritation. It makes you irritant, because everything, the vagina has all the normal flora that is supposed to keep it clean. Everything is inside, but when you start adding external factors inside, you cause problems that are not supposed to be there normally. So yes, the use of perfumes, the use of even bathing soaps. You see some people using scented bathing soaps, non-scented, and just normal water is enough to wash and to clean that area, and you'll be fine.
Okay, so many women do not know the difference between the vagina and the vaginal opening. Everybody just thinks that the opening that we see is the vagina. Can you please tell us about that? Okay, so my question is, the vagina, is it an internal organ, or the outside one?
No, okay, now I get what the question is. No, the perineal structure. Do you understand? There's the vulva, that's the part that most people see. There's the clitoris, that is right there. There's the stimulatory organ, right? And then the vagina is an internal organ. It's an internal organ. It's after the clitoris, there is a vaginal opening. There's a vaginal opening.
The vaginal opening. The vagina itself is an internal organ.
Yes,
so it is advised that we use just normal water to clean that area, because the vagina itself is self-cleansing. Yeah. So what happens when you use scented products then?
If when you use when you use products that are not, because there's a normal flora for the vagina, there are normal bacteria that are there to aid with the cleaning and things like that. When you use harsh chemicals, they tend to sometimes they tend to wash out this protective bacteria, leaving you more at risk for infections. Yes, sometimes it causes irritation. The skin there's swelling, there's redness, there's pain, right? And yes. So it can lead to an increased risk for infections and irritations.
Okay, so please, we should know that vaginal douching is a no-no.
Yes.
For no reason at all should a woman insert any product into the vagina.
Yes.
Because I now see that in the market, a lot of people are buying and selling feminine hygiene care kits and say if you use this, it's going to make it this and that, and then even deceive women, especially because we are shooting this particular video on Valentine's Day. So you know that you're going to meet women who are using products to what to Exactly. So please, the vagina is a self-cleansing organ. Let's be careful what we put into there. Now, okay, can you please tell us a little bit of the harmful traditional practices that are done on women? You know, I was having this conversation with you one time, and you were telling me about the breast rolling. Yeah. So please, can you tell us about that?
Okay, so let me not just say in Africa. I think in different parts of the world, there's still a lot of cultural practices that are generally harmful to the female body. A lot of times, there are some of these practices that are done with the thought of protection, as a way of protecting these young ladies, and then others are done as a way of introducing her to womanhood. Let me use that word. So some of these practices, let's start from up, down. The breasts, when a woman starts budding, especially when girls, because the age difference for breast budding. Normally, if you go like our parents' age, they'll tell you, they started having their breast buds when they were like 16, 17. That's when it started coming out, and then now they are worried. They are seeing their daughter who's 9 years old, who is 8 years old, and she's having breast buds. And a lot of women tend to tend to panic. Do you understand? Because we live in a wicked world, right? Once a girl starts having all these things, there's this tendency to attract men. There's this tendency to attract men. It seems abnormal. You hear women saying, but my doctor, I started, my breast came out when I was 16, she's just 9. Everybody's body is different. Do you understand? And what you were eating back then, malnutrition, let me not say malnutrition, but nutritional status has changed. What you were eating back then is not what children are eating now. People are having in one meal eggs and beef and meat and fish. And do you understand? Compared to what you were eating back then, everybody's body is different. Do you understand? So from things like this, I've heard so many stories of women who, after seeing these breast buds, because they're trying to, protect their daughters from, being looked at by men. You see, there's a swallow ritual where they use hot swallow to massage the breast bud. Yes, and normally it's a bit painful when it's coming out. Yeah. And then you're taking hot swallow and you're trying to massage the breast buds to go back inside. You're not just you're causing pain to this girl. You're making this girl feel like there's something wrong with her. Do you understand? It affects her confidence. It affects her, her identity as a person. She feels like, there's something wrong with her. These are not things that she should have. Meanwhile, it's a natural physiological process. Puberty is a natural thing. Do you understand? Some people go as far as using rolling pins for baking, and they are kneading the breast buds back, and you see. Do you understand? And then those are for the breast, for the private areas, we have things like female genital mutilation. Yeah. Do you understand? There are things these are still practices that still occur presently. I had a classmate not in Nigeria. I'm not going to mention the country before people, but growing up, and her vagina, let me not say her vagina, it was sewn.
Like sewn.
Like, I'm like, why? When she was telling us, I'm like, why? And they're like, it's a culture, it's a tradition to ensure that you are still a virgin when you meet and I'm like, do you understand? So these things still happen. There's some people that feel, women should not, if a woman is enjoying, if a woman is enjoying intimacy with her husband or with a man, there's something wrong. They go as far as cutting off the clitoris. I've heard of that, and you're like, why? There's so many barbaric things that you hear, and and there's some cultural practices when a woman delivers. There's some places, or before she delivers, if she's having prolonged labor and things, they put cow dung, animal feces. Yes, animal feces. Like, you see some very crazy cultures, and you're like, why?
This is really interesting, and you mean that this is really happening
these things
in this time and
till date.
Wow. Thank you so much for actually bringing this to light. We'll go on a short break now, and when we return, please take this story up again from there. Alright, see you. right, welcome back to the show. This is Health Chat with NRSVEE, and we'll be having this interesting conversation with Dr. Perret Mutman. So yeah, before we went on that short break, we were talking about the female genital mutilation. Dr. Perret, please continue your interesting story.
Okay, so let's start by actually defining what female genital mutilation is. This is the removal of the genital tissues of a woman without, for non-medical reasons, right? And why do people do this? A lot of times it goes down to cultural practices. It's been going on for years because of different cultural ideologies that have been passed on, right? But what exactly are the complications? What is the implication of this female genital mutilation? We can have immediate effects, and then we can have long-term effects, right? Immediate effects. What this woman can bleed.
Yeah,
she can bleed because the people that are doing these things are not. They're not professionals. They're not medically trained. They don't know what to cut, when, how. Do you understand? So there's a very high chance of this woman bleeding. A lot of them can enter hypovolemic shock. A lot of them die just doing, the procedure. Right. There's another risk is another immediate complication is infection. You don't know what we're using, what these people are using to.
If they're sterile.
Yes, if they're sterile, if they're not. There's what's it called, severe pain. It's a very painful.
Oh my God.
Women that sit
here can be very painful. Women
that have had this procedure, the pain is another level. It's another level. Sometimes, okay. Now let's go to the what's called the late complications. A lot of women end up having pain even after, you understand, even years after this, they still have this chronic pelvic pain. A lot of them develop all this urinary incontinence where you cannot hold urine in. You're just leaking urine everywhere you go. A lot of them, when they have dyspareunia, that's pain while having sex. Let's not even get to the mental, like the mental trauma that a lot of these women go through from these procedures. It is it's a lot.
So if we are talking to a particular community that is listening to us now that are still practicing this female genital mutilation, what would you tell them? Like, what are the dangers of female genital mutilation on these girls? I know you've mentioned them, but I want you to talk to the communities that are still practicing this, that they should actually refrain or stop practicing female genital mutilation. So if there's any community practicing this, what would be your advice to them?
Okay, I'm not against culture. I'm not against culture as long as it is not harmful to the human body. As long as it's not harmful to the human body. This female genital mutilation has led to a lot of women's death. It has led to a lot of women having severe complications. You hear stories of women saying, oh, they don't enjoy, after these procedures, they don't enjoy having intimacy with their partners. A lot of them complain of severe pain. It is not this procedure is not ethical. It's not something that we should still be doing this day and age. So my advice to all the communities, please, we can honor cultures, but not the ones that are harmful to the human body. Let's stop these practices. They are harming girls. They are causing pain. It's leading to the death of women, and we don't want our women to die. So please, let's stop these things.
Okay, especially because female genital mutilation is a violation of human rights, right? So this woman, every girl, every woman has a right to life, has a right to her body parts. So this practice of cutting out female genital parts for whatsoever reasons should please be stopped as a matter of urgency. So it's actually February. This recording is happening in February, and February 6th is International Day for for zero tolerance on female genital mutilation. And that's why I really wanted us to talk deeply about this, because it's a dangerous practice that many of our women have to go through. Now, what is your final message before we go as to the relationship between emotional burden and reproductive health?
Okay, I think in Africa, in Nigeria, I don't think we see we value the emotional aspects of women or of mothers. Do you understand? Like, you hear things like when a woman is struggling to get pregnant, or she's struggling to conceive, or things like, you see a lot of times it sounds like people are more tilted to the man. Yeah, the man does not have children. Yeah, he doesn't have anyone that will carry his legacy, his name, his all those things. And it feels like all the anger is mostly focused on the woman, when infertility is both ways. Can be caused by the man, can be caused by the woman. So a lot of times I think women are made or are allowed to carry all the emotional trauma, all the emotional burden, and it's as if it feels like the community is just, and it's okay, as long as it's you. And then they turn to the man and they are, so to a point where they're even encouraging the man without even knowing who's at fault, encouraging the men to go and have,
yeah. So what do you think is the relationship of this emotional burden to the reproductive health? And even talking about the female genital mutilation we were just talking about earlier, how on earth is it that they are thinking that a woman is not supposed to enjoy intimacy, and that's why they are deciding? Like, women, we actually bear a lot emotionally. So what do you think is the relationship between this emotional burden and our health?
Okay, this emotion, when a woman is stressed, it plays a role with her hormones. There's a dysregulation of her hormones. You see some people, like, once they're very stressed, their period doesn't come when it's supposed to come, and things like that. So stress is a factor. You're too stressed, you're not going to, it has a way of affecting your menstrual cycle, and you end up you could end up not ovulating, and it could end up
regarding other health issues.
But stress is a factor.
Okay, alright, it was quite an interesting conversation with Dr. Peret Mutman. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And yes, to everyone who is listening to us, this is still HealthChat with NRSVEE, a platform that brings insightful discussions around women's health. And today we talked about a lot of issues affecting women, centering most especially on female genital mutilation. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. I hope that you did learn a thing or two from our conversation today. And we call it a wrap for today's session. See you next time on our next episode on HealthChat with NRSVEE.